I'm hoping that today is going to be a Wellington and a plastic trouser day.
And if that doesn't whet your appetite, I do not know what will. And having driven from the south coast of England through the night to reach our destination in Wales, I tell you, I was beyond excited by the time dawn came. For context, in February I came to Benro about 6 weeks after my husband had a pretty nasty accident. The rivers were in full spate, and indeed it was a Wellington and plastic trouser kind of time.
I'm actually really quite excited.
And during the 2 mornings where it wasn't biblically raining, we got out and I managed to capture 3 shots that I'm really quite pleased with.
Boom! Boom, man!
So I've come back to try and capture this wonderful trail and another fall I love, with foliage, hey, maybe even a touch of autumn.
Now, last time I was here, conditions were very different to what I've got today. It was February, there were no leaves on the tree. We'd had 4 days of rain, pretty solid rain at that, and the river was in full spate, and at times it was so ferocious that actually it wasn't worth getting a camera out because it lost its personality completely. Add to that my camera died twice and I had to go get it dried out overnight. It was a less than productive time. So having done some more research on how to shoot this place in different conditions, I have returned, hopefully to get a touch of autumnal colour, although I think I am a little on the early side. We do have amount peeking through every now and then. Part of my research has been looking at the work of Trevor Sherwin, who's done some fantastic blogs on how to get the best out of this area. He covers the Elidir Falls, the Four Waterfall Trail, and just gives you some great inspiration. And this time we're finally getting to see some personality.
If you park in Podnethfechan, it's actually about 30 minutes walk till you get to the first waterfall. I wanted to go on and kind of work my way backwards.
As you can see, we have a few dead ash trees around and also some debris from storms that we've had this year. So it does make a bit of a cluttered foreground. I was hoping to shoot a little bit further down the river up towards this. However, it is too cluttered. So I'm going to probably go back towards the area I was before.
I tried something a little bit different. Didn't quite work out, so I just went back to an old favourite. And with the light just kissing the surface of the water, along with those yellow leaves swirling, well, I got my first banger of the day, and I know that's subjective, but I'm blimmin' pleased. As with the February version of this shot, I've blended 2 exposures. The raws are shown here. If you'd like to know how to do this technique, please have a look at the video on screen after you finish this one. And for reference, a seasonal comparison.
Horseshoe Falls or Sgwd-y-Bedol, and I admit I'm quite excited about this. So the idea is that you shoot this area and you get the fall right in the background as well, and we have a touch of autumn, if not the full whack. This is cool. Very cool.
In February, the water was so ferocious that I couldn't even get down to this level, let alone begin to shoot it. And finally, I had the chance to see its personality and tried to capture it. And yes, I know this shot's been done 100 times, but not by me.
It's working out what to keep in and to eradicate. Ferns, foreground, man that's walked into my shot in a bright yellow jacket, he can be erased.
Now this is a pleasant shot, but when I compare it to others, for example like Trevor Sherwin's, well, it's a little bit mediocre. Never does to compare, does it? And as for this, well, there's too much space in the midground, and I should have been more determined with my foreground. Make it a bit more prominent. Having this place to myself was a real privilege. It just meant I could take my time and make quite a few mistakes. After taking the classic shot, I thought I'd make my way down the bank a little bit further, just to take my chances and see what happens. I had an idea about trying that swirly foreground thing again, but it doesn't work when the scum's too thick. Horrible word that, isn't it? Scum. Right, 2 down, off to one of my favourite waterfalls, Sgwd Gwladys.
The final waterfall that I'm going to go and see before we have lunch is Sgwd Gwladys. And coincidentally, I'm having lunch in the Sgwd Gwladys, not the waterfall. Let's just put it this way. There's a lot of people on this trail right now, and the sun's out. I think this is going to be a bit of a disaster. Might be a case of ducking and diving, waiting until people get out of the way, and just hoping for the best.
Well, the best happened. They all disappeared. How lucky am I? So I fiddled about, moved myself around. Best place was in the middle of the river where I got this shot. And yes, I'm going to say for me, this is a bit of a banger. Again, I decided to combine 2 shots because I wanted to maintain the texture in my waterfall and stop any movement in the trees. I then moved to this rather precarious position, and I'm going to be honest with you, this was an absolute monster to deal with. This is 3 shots that I had to blend manually. The first for the fern in the foreground, the second for the water that's swirling in the midground, and the third for the background to keep it in focus but also to stop those trees moving. I shall not be doing something like this again in a hurry, I can tell you.
I'm very much liking this. This is very good.
After a suitable refreshment break, we went to Dinus Rock to park up so we could make our way to the Sychryd Falls, where in February I'd taken one of my favourite shots of the year so far. The water was so powerful that I managed to catch a little splosh, and it still makes me smile to this day.
Just had a post-posh-nosh snooze. Never a good thing. So this waterfall that I am confessing is my favourite is not part of the formal Elidir trail, although it is very close, or a starting point to it is very close. It's called the Sychryd Waterfall. Now the reason I love this waterfall is because when I was here in February, when conditions were absolutely not ideal, it was the gift that kept on giving. This waterfall is not the easiest to get to, either on the ascent going up past Dinus Rock or the descent getting towards the optimum position for shooting. And I'm told it is for that reason that not as many visitors come to here as they do the main Elidir trail.
And on the way down one of the treacherous descents, we heard joy, too much joy.
And these nutters have just been jumping off this.
Huge admiration for these nutters. True nutters. Brilliant.
Okay, now this is not full spate, thank goodness. So I am going to just try and get a variety of shots, horizontal, vertical, but this is going to be a really important feature, I think, of every one of them.
So the waterfall isn't as strong, and there's no splosh, but I have an interesting composition. Boom!
Full polarisation. I'm trying to aim for a variety of shots between 0.25 and 0.4.
And now it's just time for me to take my time and have a play.
Well, today has been a long but fun day of photography. Oh, really interesting to see the differences between February and now. The foliage to non-foliage and the spate to non-spate. I hope that you have enjoyed the fact that I have shared 2 sets of times of year photos with you. And just to see the contrast is quite stark.
I'd love to share with you the 3 that I consider are my bangers from today. And it's not often I can say that after just one day of photography. I'd love to know if any of these have caught your eye, or indeed any of the others.
Great place to come, loved every minute of it. Time to go back to the car to wend our way 1 hour northeast to our campsite for the night and just rest up a little bit. No 2:30 a.m. starts tomorrow morning, I can tell you. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I look forward to taking you with me wherever I go next time. Goodbye.